All right, meeting coming to order at 6:30. Roll call, Chris Werland here.
Chris Williams is here.
Christine Erb.
Right in.
You're on here.
Hey, babe.
Okay, all accounted and present. Minutes from last meeting. Everybody get a chance to read those?
Yes. Yeah. The only thing I pointed out to Jill was that we asked, Susie Rice would it, post on social media. That's all I'm changing this.
Okay. So do I have a motion to accept the last month's meeting?
Move, we accept the minutes as amended.
Okay,
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Where'd Jill go?
Okay.
4-0. It's the new way we gotta do it.
Is that was okay how I did that?
Yeah, that's fine. Minutes from the executive meeting. Did you guys have a chance to look those over? I emailed them out.
I did.
Oh, here it is. Right here on top. Okay,
This was before,
it was
This
the
is-
night before,
yeah, didn't
Last
we
month.
approve these at the last meeting? No, we didn't.
because I hadn't written them up yet.
Oh, okay.
So do I have a motion to accept the executive meeting notes?
I move that we approve the executive session. Notes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. Any edits to the agenda? The few I had, she's already put in here, so. Does anybody else have any?
Do we have an updated agenda then?
Yeah.
What color?
Blue. Blue. Thank you for doing that like that, Jill. That's great.
Thank you.
Basically, I put under new business, the inter-facility transfers and the bill forgiveness that was emailed out to us. And the minutes to the executive meeting were the only three I added.
Okay.
So,
Much.
okay,
What's BUDG?
budget. Did I spell it wrong?
You left the T.
You left the T off.
I'm just not smart
Budget.
enough to figure it out. I move we
Sorry,
approve the agenda.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 4-0. And treasurer's report.
So I asked Joanne a question this morning about that, because it's showing our transfer going into the ambulance fund instead of the general fund, and she said, yes, that was a mistake that was made, and it wasn't rectified till March, so we'll see the fix in next month's financial, so it's okay, they're aware of it. I saw nothing else. Concern.
Okay.
Oh, and thanks for adding those items, we added the items to the report.
Okay. Can I have a blue one that has a signature on it? Is there one there that is fine? Oh, no, I want last month's. But that's that.
So I would move that we approve the treasurer's report.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. Okay, give me a second to get these signed.
I do have a question.
Okay.
On the payment of bills. But it's probably more about this month's business, if it's okay if I ask it.
Yes,
Are we caught up on IGA payments now, Joanne? But all the back stuff is done.
Yeah.
Great, thank you very much for.
Thank you.
Getting that done.
yes, I signed $1 million.
I'm assuming we only, since this was okay, we only paid for the.
Oh. Yes, I guess we can just include that payment of the bills, right?
I didn't hear, sorry.
She asked if, since we have thought that the financials look good, is it okay to go ahead and pay February?
Oh, yes. Okay. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. And public comment.
Good evening, my name is Gage Spencer. Pursuant to the email that I sent out to members of the EMS and fire boards, here are the physical copies of the letter and all associated documentation. Additionally, there's one thumb drive with digital copies for each board as well.
Okay.
With this, additional copies as needed will be furnished to OGEC, the DESST reporting system, State of Oregon NAVEX reporting system, the County Commissioner's Office, and other officers as needed.
Okay.
Thank you for reviewing the information, and we hope to have a response.
Just to let you know, the board has looked it over. However, technically, Medic does not have employees. So we're going to refer to the fire side in their meeting. So it's not that we're not addressing it, it's we don't have employees, so technically we can't, they need to. Okay? Okay. Anybody else?
Chris, maybe it's an obvious thing. So the IGA that you guys developed and signed all staff to
To the
board.
fire.
That was signed how many years ago?
2019, is that right?
2019?
The initial one was 2019, the one that transferred the employees over, I think, was 2022, I think.
Yeah, cause we were. I think it was 19. Everything was done. in
20 2019 was when the four went together.
Yeah,
2020 was when we had the vote and the fire districts went together. And then we made an IGA with the medic, with the fire.
Okay.
districts. So that would have been 2020. That's
okay.
when the vote happened.
It was a few years ago.
Yeah, just so folks know, they didn't know, maybe I'm.
Okay. All right, job hiring of the health administrator. Did you guys look over?
Yes.
Okay. So I stapled it. I don't know if you guys wanna copy also. There's a couple things in there that we need to. Need to go over. This would be for the internal candidates first. And then if we can't locate somebody, then we go external.
So I would recommend to the other board that they open it simultaneously. Internal and external for a period of time. Post it as starting interviews at such and such date, open until filled.
Okay, You don't wanna do it internally first?
I think we should open it at the both at the same time and see what the pool of candidates is.
Your thoughts?
I'll go. That's all right. I'll go with Chris.
You can have a different opinion, right? I was just
No,
sharing my
no, no,
opinion, a recommendation to the other boards.
Well, I'd like to go on record as saying that since we all got the resignations, Andy stepped up, done a really good job, and I was watching him close to start with, and then backing up a little bit, backing up, so he's got my vote, he's doing a good job, and I appreciate it, and like the email that I sent out to everybody, this is the medic district that serves me and my wife and my family as well, so I'm not flippant or casual about it. I've got a vested interest in, and that's what my thoughts are.
That's this one. I don't know if you guys got that one.
I would like to see it posted just internally, but I don't know if legally you're able to do that.
We have a
Yes.
board policy that states that we can hire from within.
Okay.
And in fact, most of the positions that we have were hired from within, either from our volunteer corps or from our own people. From full-time people who were just moved up.
My vote is to start internally first and then later open it up if we need to.
We're at a 2 and 2.
I don't think so. I think Ray really had a different thing.
I don't know, he's been winking at me.
Tell,
Different reason.
Chris, just tell me a little more, Chris. I'm used to it because that's the way we have done it in the past, so with other departments, it was always like internal, even if it was just for a week, and then typically we open it up after that. And even then, at that point, internal folks could still apply
Right.
on the outside. So, but you just like to open it up and see where we get.
Right, we may have the best candidate in-house, but we don't know that until we open it up and see what the pool is.
How long have we advertised?
We can put a date on it anytime. I just kind of scribbled draft, a deadline of like March 31st. Interviews the week of the April 7th. So, I mean, we can change this to however you want to do it.
Chris, would you be willing to do that if we did a shorter period of time? Like not a month or like a couple of weeks or 15?
You're saying open up internally first?
Open it up both ways, but maybe do a shorter term.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking like 2 weeks,
Okay,
which is, Chris only has it down here a week, basically.
10 days.
so
I
my
just
thought,
did it to the end of the month.
Right,
if we did it internal, it'd be like a week or 14, something
Ah.
short. And then if we went out, then it would probably be a month or something like that. But I don't think we want to wait that long.
correct, I would agree.
Okay, so what do we want to? The qualification and education requirements is what we did back in 2017. So I just stuck that in there. We can adjust it, we can do whatever, that's just what it was previous.
I'd like to have the chief chime in on that, on qualifications.
Well, if we're gonna be doing, chart reviews, they probably should be a paramedic.
Agreed.
I agree too. I don't think we should. I think they should be.
And further, they really should have some supervision experience. They should have, if they don't have experience, then they really should have a mountain of education. Education is what you get when you don't have experience. That's been said to me for decades, so that's where I would be on that.
Okay. Well, right now it's asking for 5 years supervisory and 5 years experience as a paramedic. I mean, if we only get 4, then we only get 4, but
So my question is this position that you guys are talking about, is this gonna be on the car, or is this gonna be an 8-hour, 5-hour position?
say that again.
Is this a shift position or is it above and beyond?
Well, that's the A and the B.
Cause that's gonna make a significant difference on the budget, which I'm preparing right now, and I almost will just give it to you folks and say, tell me what to do, because I don't see the money there.
So I have no problem with it being a shift-based position as long as, my big thing is that the administrator needs to work with all of the personnel. So that they can coach, they can mentor, they can guide. So however that can be facilitated, I think shift work is fine. But I think being locked with one individual does not fill the role of a supervisor.
I would agree with that, and I would defer and ask Andy if he has his finger on the pulse on what's going on in the car and who's doing a good job with patient assessments or whatnot, and in his opinion about how well he knows those things about what's going on with our medic crew. I think it can't get any better than firsthand experience, and that's what he has.
Your turn. How do you feel? You're on a shift, a crew. You're on crew 1, 2, or 3. Do you feel you monitor the other 2 shifts well?
I don't know enough about it to say.
No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Andy behind you.
Hello, Andy.
Thanks for your input.
Thanks for the comment, really, Greg.
I'll defer to Greg. I would say if we're fully staffed and we have 3 paramedics, 1 for each shift, that's not. It could work, but I think it would be a challenge because when we were fully staffed, we had 1 person per shift and I was working with 2 other people or 1 other person all the time. So it could become a challenge. Right now, where the firefighters and basics are sliding through, so I get to see them at different times.
Okay,
So it would be challenging. Now with the ALS provider, I wouldn't be able to see them. I mean, it would just be in the passing unless I stayed. And then that would create, how do we work that situation?
okay.
Well, I wouldn't yet. I think our expectation would be whoever the administrator is, if someone's out sick, he takes their place.
Absolutely.
And the other question is, has this position been exempt in the past? Has it been salaried?
It has been exempt in the past, and what was being done for a while was when Michael and Andy were both doing the task book, when they were both completing the task books, the first shift that they would work back was comped. And then if they pulled shifts after that, they were paid not overtime, because it's illegal to pay somebody who's exempt overtime. It was just called something, but they were compensated for that. Then later on, I think somebody from the board said compensate them for all of their extra work as far as the shift work was concerned, and I think that took place.
So in my opinion, when I came on the board, Mark Moore was in this position. And it seemed, and again, I was new, it ran really smooth. I felt we were heard as a board. I felt employees were seen. I felt we got things done in a timely fashion and I think that he was on an hour. I don't know. I don't
It
know
was
what,
Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 type of thing.
so that's my experience. That was going really well in my opinion, and I've not seen that happen for a while.
And Mark was working days at that point, so if there was a call that took place after he had gone home, one of the volunteers that would come back would run the call. Which is unlike now, whereas we have 24/7 coverage, so we're talking about one person or a person who's gonna be around the clock on the car.
I think we need to pay the person enough so that they're on call. Or something.
To work 8 to 5 and then be on call the rest of the evening.
And then they would coordinate with the fire chief. Or vacation, things like that.
Okay,
And we pay them enough to compensate and not pay overtime.
So Ray, so that I'm understanding you, you're talking about paid standby for somebody, and then they just respond from their home to wherever the call originates. Am
I think the chief and the administrator are on 24/7 shifts. I don't think they're on a shift, they're on 24/7.
Understand
And we
that.
pay them. We pay them to do that.
so like what Andy's doing now is he's on a 24-hour shift.
And if somebody calls in, paramedic calls in sick. And he covers rather than using Pendleton.
So I'm a little lost about. Listen, I just want to
Sorry.
clarify. Are you saying that you want seventh person, a seventh employee? I know that's what Christine's.
We
saying.
already
Is
have
that-
3 paramedics besides the administrator. So the administrator would be 4th.
We don't have 3 paramedics. have
We don't,
2.
okay, I'm sorry then.
We're
Okay.
understood.
Then I apologize, then
So are you
I
saying you
misspoke.
want 3 paramedics, 3 lower medics, and then an administrator?
that's how I'd like to
That's,
see it.
cause I believe that's what you're saying too. Okay, I just wanted to clarify, cause I was getting a little lost in how
Sorry.
things were being, no.
Yeah.
Just
I
clarify.
think based on reviewing things, there needs to be an administrator that can focus on it at least for a year or 2.
And what is that administrator's hourly? Is it an 8 to 5 overseeing the 3 paramedics and the 3 basics? Or are they taking one of those shifts without being a sick
Cause I know
coverer?
that there would be a cost savings in that.
That's why I was asking, if they're a 7th employee or they're number 6.
Yeah,
But then whatever shift he's on, then that becomes the shift that he sees the most and or
Exactly.
spends the most time with. And that doesn't necessarily. Because I think the administrator needs to be coming in on different shifts and spending time with all the crews.
Well, in a week's,
If we have the budget to do it, and I guess that's my. if we
That's
don't-
real crucial.
If we don't have the budget to do
you
it, then I
gotta be able
think
to pay them.
Well, I'm gonna
That's
hand
a
the
goal for
headlock
the
to one of you
future.
guys to help me put the budget together, because there's no money, there's not funding to do what we're talking about right now, so one of you guys are gonna have to help with that.
So I'm wondering, to make it work, there's a crew, no, you don't want to mess with that. Never mind, forget I said.
So Mark Moore wasn't, he didn't work a shift?
he worked a Monday through Friday. But at the time, we had 3. We had Rochelle, we had Andy, and we had Frank. And then Frank left. And we just had the 2. Okay, I guess the main thing that we need to determine right now is internal and external. When do we want the deadline and when do we want to schedule interviews so we can get this moving? We can figure out their schedule and whatnot later, but so internal or both?
I'm sticking with internal. to start with.
Okay.
And I don't care if that gets posted for only a week. And then we move. If we need to, in a different direction, but that's my vote.
Okay. Ray,
I'm good with going out with both for a 2-week period. Just to see who might apply.
I would like both.
And that's not a lack in confidence in staff or anything, it's just, I think.
I guess just good practice, good hiring practice. And I think you could stick with keeping the interviews the week of the 7th. Unless Dave's gonna be on vacation, I guess.
Whatever you guys want to do. You guys decide.
But I would say open until filled, but first round of interviews is week of the 7th.
Exactly.
okay,
And hopefully the candidate we want is in that first pool. And we just charge for it.
so do we wanna end it on March 31st? That's literally 10-12 days, or you wanna give them the full 2 weeks to make it to the 4th, which is Friday?
I just wanted to say open until filled.
Yeah,
I
but
like
when's the
that.
first interview?
Yeah, leave your first interview the week of the 7th.
Okay,
You know, so anybody that's applied by then that has been pre-screened and that whoever's on the panel wants to
Meets
talk
and
to
then qual.
You can
Yes.
just say in the advertisement that, until filled, and that, there'll be a date set for the
first
first
screening
review.
or, yeah, whatever.
First reviews will be done. So if
Exactly.
people start calling wanting to know,
So just to confirm, this is a shift working position or this is a?
we don't know yet.
She's still up here, that's here.
I just
There has been no,
wondering
yeah,
how much
understood, Dave.
straw and gold there's gonna be happening, that's all.
Lots of IFTs, right?
It's up to you guys. It's a treasure trove, but whatever you guys wanna do.
I would ask the question,
Yes, ma'am.
if you don't know at this point what money is available, we don't know what shift or what schedule, how can you interview? What are you gonna tell the person? We don't know yet what you're going to be paid, we don't know yet what you're going to be working.
Cause we'll have that ready by the first interviews.
But do we need that information in the
Put it in the
advertisement?
Posted.
Advertisement.
In the advertisement,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even if it's a range or whatever, but
I think you could put a range, that'd be pretty.
You could do something like that, put DOE on it, but the lower section of the range is gonna need to be competitive. Not the same as Pendleton or UCFD one, but it needs to be, I would like to see that it's competitive at some level.
I still like Monday through Friday because I feel that they need to be visual to all employees, not just one shift.
Well, that goes back to can we pay for it?
Exactly.
So Dave, well, we don't know because the next board has to talk about pay rates, right?
I suppose so.
So
I'm under
what,
the impression that all the employees are under that board, so I have no idea what you guys are gonna decide for pay or anything like that. I have no idea who this person would, which board they would be working for. I don't know.
so how much, when you budget for 3 paramedics, 3 other medics, what's that number at the end of the year?
Right now, I budget for 2 paramedics and an advanced EMT. For the 3 ALS persons and the advanced EMT, is open. So if it needs to have paramedic pay, then whatever you guys decide. Well, if the person is on shift, then they're on shift. If the person is working straight up, they're working 8 to 5, if they're working 8 to 5 at whatever salary is designed upon.
Not sure that so if we had 3 advanced medics, whatever role those are, and if we're fully staffed, 6 people, what's that cost us at the end of the year? Ballpark.
The budget that was done was made with 6 people, 2 paramedics and an advanced EMT. So it was made with 6 people, but it's right at. Well, you saw the email that I sent out with the breakdown of how the IGA check would look, and it's at 59, almost 60 right now. If we have, instead of an advanced EMT, if you hire a paramedic then it's gonna be a little bit more.
But the 59 was for everything,
Exactly.
the building insurance, supplies.
Correct, everything. But at the very top, you see ambulance operated labor.
Mhm.
We're talking about possibly making that labor cost a little bit more. Which, that's fine if that's what you guys want to do.
But we can't spend money we don't have. Much as we don't, it's not everything we want. I think this is gonna have to be a shift-based person, and we're gonna have to pay some overtime for them to interact with other crews. It's the only way I can see it, right?
In my opinion, that's not a bad idea. If you say, hey, 10 hours a week, this person is gonna work shift, but then 10 hours a week, please interact or, you know, that kind of thing, or do a
Sure.
training or something to that effect. You get the same effect.
Go run a call with another crew.
Well, if it's an EMS call, we should have 2 EMSs that can handle it and let the paramedic stay here and continue with their paperwork. Right?
That's what's being done now
Okay.
on 2 of the shifts. Am I right with that?
As far as the paramedics staying here.
Paramedics staying back and 2 EMTs are taking the BLS calls in to see the doctor. Is that basically what's happening? No?
Variants have to have. My understanding of variants is supposed to have a ALS provider and an MBLS provider in it. I don't know if that's also part of the county contract too.
I believe the variance allows us to triage the call. And the variance basically allows us to have a non-EMT with another advanced life support person. So the non-EMT, the DPSST driver is driving and the patient is under the care of the provider.
Sounds like we're gonna go with shift for now.
I don't think we can. At least based on last year's revenues, I don't think we can, I mean, to hire another person, you're gonna be all in, what, 110 to 15,000? by the time you-
Depending on what wage you put on them, they're,
For
Oh my
health
goodness.
insurance. all
yeah,
that.
that's 35% on top of their wage.
Yeah,
So
don't
whatever
think-
wage, if you're paying them $10, then $3.50 is gonna go on top of that. If you
Sure.
pay them 100,000, it's 35,000. And if this is a supervisory position in charge of the performance of other people being what they are graded upon, then my advice is that it needs to be a supervisor's wage. It really does.
so I think as much, it's not our dream, I think it's gonna have to be shift based, we're just gonna have to fund some overtime for them to interact with them.
And that doesn't mean that it
Okay.
always has to be based, because this district can make some decisions that enables it to create more revenue if it chooses to, and more revenue is gonna put more opportunities at,
Sure.
so doesn't mean that,
The
I get
future
it.
could look different, but this is where we're starting.
Okay. So if we do external and internal candidates, deadline open till filled, first interviews the week of 7th. I'm not gonna put the start date. And then we'll go with B at this present. What is our next hourly wage? This was the one that he gave us. The lieutenant paramedic is what Chief had suggested. My little scribbles down at the bottom, I just did it times 24 times 10 days. And then times 12 months. Just so I could financially, mentally see.
So I
Um,
wonder about changing the title to like paramedic supervisor or something like that, because we're really not getting an administrator, we don't have the money for it. And I think the reality is that guy's gonna be working shift.
That's the whole reason that we're doing this though, is because we're looking for that admin sort of person. Partially.
I'm just not sure how much administration really, it really falls back to each shift completing all the building.
So they, depending on their qualifications and experience, they wouldn't not start at the bottom, right? Start somewhere.
So the first line is entry, and just about any pay scale that you'll see any place has an entry position.
I would like
And after that, you could plug somebody in any place that you want to, any place that you feel is just on the pay scale.
So if you have somebody that's got a few years on everybody, say, hey, you're gonna start at step 2.
You can certainly do that. In fact, if somebody is on one step scale and they certify or something, they become they're a lieutenant EMT, for instance, and then they become a lieutenant paramedic, their pay is not gonna go backwards. So you would plug them in at whatever on the step scale that you need to so that they don't go backwards.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, yeah,
Yeah, nobody wants to do that.
yeah, that's
Okay.
not
So
what's designed for.
do you advertise the range? Is that how you post the job?
Well, if it were me, I would post it as I would show the lowest of the range and I would show the highest in DOE and I would leave it at that.
I agree.
That way you have the most options for whoever that you see
Sure.
coming in to do
No, that
that.
makes sense. Makes sense.
And if you leave yourself with options, then you could legally make a decision that affects someone's, how they enter into the organization. So that's what that was designed for. And the step increase is about 4.5% to 5% per step. And it hasn't been discussed yet, but my intention was to sit down with 2 or 3 or even all of the workers to try come up with a reasonable amount of internal training hours, external training hours, workouts that are approved by this is another place to spend the money, but approved by a physical trainer and then also positive evaluation. As long as somebody has all those in place, they get the step up. And that is not a COLA. That is in addition,
So you could
Should
get
go.
both theoretically.
you betcha.
Okay.
So that if
Okay.
you're in the step, if you're on the ladder, and you're doing all the right things, you could potentially see 8% per year.
Gotcha.
And that's
That's
not too awful bad.
No.
so hourly wage would start at the 23 to 29,
For
or do we say step 1 to step 5? Depending on,
your posting you're talking about?
yes,
Just
No,
run a dollar.
a dollar
number,
amount.
That's gonna be
Just say
easier
whatever.
to attract and retain people.
Whatever the lower is to the upper,
okay,
and then you can say step increases.
Opportunities or whatever.
That would be what you would share during your interview process, because somebody should have that question, but they probably won't. But that is something that you would make sure they know before they drive away.
okay. So I put the 23 to 29, depending on experience. Okay,
I think they should email them to the office. I think we need one central point of collection. Don't we have like an admin at EUFR.org or whatever?
Yes.
Shouldn't they go to Jill? Isn't she our HR person?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I did, cause it here it has it sending to Chris.
Oh, I see, I
Yeah.
see. Sorry.
Jill, do you want it your direct or is there one that says office?
I don't know about an admin one.
First dot last at EUFR.org.
Okay. Is that acceptable to everybody?
Do you want a motion? Or you just wanna go with it?
No, I want a motion, but do I need to read it again?
Wouldn't hurt just to make sure it's all.
Okay. Internal and external candidates. For administrator slash paramedic, deadline open until filled, first interviews the week of April 7th. We're gonna go with the shift work of 24 hours on, 48 off, is that correct?
48.96.
Uh-oh. Do that again, 48,
48.96. Because you run about 500 calls per year. So there's all sorts of opportunity for somebody to catch some rest.
okay. Hourly wage would start at 23 to 29.35, depending on experience. And at the very bottom, send it to Jill. Does that work? Okay, now can I have a motion?
To approve the administrator position. Job
Okay.
description or advertising.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
I,
4-0. Will you hand that to Jill? You can make them however she wants.
so
Okay.
does Jill post it for us? How does it get posted? What does that look like?
She'll tell whoever's supposed to post it to post it.
Are we gonna, how do you, just putting it in a paper, or are we doing it just publicly, on our website, of course?
Either however you want to post it. You can do it on your Facebook, on our website. Put it in,
Isn't there a place where?
Yes, there is. It's called Daily Dispatch. It goes to Northwest. Pretty much any paramedic that's going to be out there is going to take a look and see that. So is this just a paramedic or is this a paramedic firefighter? That's going to have it. That's going to be a point of contention.
Can you say more about that?
Well, if a person is a paramedic firefighter, they should be paid more. If a person is just a paramedic, then they are not a firefighter. They're not multitasking. They're not cross-training. They're not providing the taxpayers with an extra skill. So they should be paid less.
I'm okay with keeping the pay as it is, but I would like it to be a paramedic admin is my 2 cents.
So signal roll, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are gonna be firefighter medic,
They-
and we can always send them through fire school.
If they want to. So people don't.
I didn't, I was the old guy. Yeah, I completed it.
Oh, yeah.
okay,
So Jill, I would say our website, maybe the Facebook, if that's how we're doing it, I don't know, the Daily Dispatch. And if there's other suggestions. I don't know much about the newspaper
Are
anymore.
are we legally required to put it in our paper of record or whatever?
We should.
I don't know that we're legally required. I think we can, if we chose to post it on our website and on Daily Dispatch, a lot of jurisdictions do just that. If you want to take the shotgun approach and UB and EO and every place, then that can be done.
What do you want? Go to the
I think
paper or-
these three, nobody gets the paper anymore.
Only
It's like
comes out
once
like
a week, yeah.
one online and one in print. That's
And then they charge a whole lot of money for running
Golly
it out.
dogs, yeah.
Yep. I'm okay with Daily Dispatch, Facebook and our website. We good?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving on. Medical report for monthly billing, quarterly collections, resolution and insurance. Resolution, well, it was kind of all combined last month. The resolutions, Jill said she figured out how to do them, and when we have one, she'll know how to type them up. Insurance, we think, had to do with the 3 or 4 quotes. And she got a little bit of info, but not a
What I
quote.
understood from the chief, because we're a member of SDAO,
We have to go through them.
have to purchase through them.
Yeah.
Through SDS, yes. And what we found out in 2019 is it's markedly better rates than coaching companies or wherever else.
Sure.
In fact, when we reached out to those people, they wouldn't even give us a number right now. In 2019, they did. They gave Mark and I numbers, and we both looked at each other like we had an arm growing up our head because, well, then we're going to do that instead. Got it really easy.
The medical report and the quarterly collections was what I sent out
Today.
late today, yes. Tactical billing. They wanted me to be aware that they are not a collection agency. They are a billing agency. He stated that he had talked to Mark and Mark thought some A word, ARIEL or something, was the collection billing. But he could never find out. He said Tiffany was supposed to get back to him a 1.5 years ago and never did. So they have never turned anything over to collections because they don't know who to turn it over to. So if you're looking into that, he suggested maybe we call our auditor to see if they knew. Nobody's been able to tell them if we have a contract with a collection agency so that they can transfer it over. And if not, we need to find out and get one so that we can send some of this over to collections.
If we don't have one, then we should do a request for proposals
Yes,
and get one as soon as we can.
And it has to be HIPAA compliant.
Yeah.
The agency that we choose.
Joanne, since you've been doing the books, however many years that's been, have you ever seen money come in from a collection agency?
I was just trying to remember way back. Remember, I think it was the report. I remember seeing the effect of it was minimal,
Okay.
just very, very minimal. I don't remember seeing anything from anybody else, but that doesn't mean it was.
Sure.
Armida, ARMEDA Corp is who they thought it was.
They have sent some checks. They're really small when we get them, but they have sent some checks.
Okay. That's who Blaine is claiming he thinks we were going through, but could never verify we had a contract with them.
And what's our actual policy say as far as how far past due it goes before they, it's like 90 days past due, then they turn it into collections or?
That was something else that we need to determine. He said some will say 90 days from their last payment or 90 days from them trying and not getting any answer. After 90 days, send it. So they will go with whatever our policy is. So if they're paying $50 is the minimum, and they'll pay it for a year and then they quit, 90 days later, boom, it goes to collections.
You know,
So-
there's typically 3 notifications that have to go out to them, or at least attempt to collect.
Yeah.
And then after that, you can assign them.
And I couldn't tell, so what you sent out was it the same thing we got yesterday as far as the billing report?
No.
No, this was
today.
from Tactical.
Did it have age of,
It was from Blake.
no, but I'm saying how long some of that stuff's been on the books?
Oh, he gave me everything he had, all the way back to 23. That was the whole kit and caboodle.
Well, I guess our next step is to see who our contracted agency is, review our policy and maybe circle back to this next month.
Yeah.
The shorter you can cut the time, the more likely you're gonna get something.
I might be able to look back on the records and give you next month, give you a figure. of
Okay.
How much we actually received.
And the last time, if it is this company, the last time we received something would be great,
Okay,
but somebody should be reaching out to that company regardless and just seeing if
If
there's
we
an
have
agreement
any.
or, you know,
The one thing good that you can do is that after they've sent the notice, if the billing agency will notify us. And if these are people that if staff knows, then we would, at least in the past, then we would contact them and try to encourage them to pay before we send the collections.
okay,
just as a courtesy sort of something, right?
Because the collection agency doesn't always know, but
okay.
it gives you one last attempt to get them to pay before they turn.
Okay,
Ray, was that staff that would make that phone call and ask? Really? Wow,
Chief, me,
you the man.
wasn't fun. And we didn't get that many, but sometimes they were locals, and so the chief would give them a call and say, hey,
Wow.
you owe us some money.
we know you, come pay. Okay, moving on, pay scale and payroll. Do we want to get into that? Since we have no employees?
No,
Well,
Okay. We'll pass that one up. Elections. Today was the last day and I'm still not showing one spot. So be aware. It'll go to the ballot, but we're still missing our 5th spot.
I talked with somebody yesterday, so I'll follow up.
Okay. IGA. We had talked about this and we kind of need to do a little bit. I did one with red marking. We have 3 addendums that we would like to present to the fire. Number 1 is the physical address is 202 Bannister Road, correct?
Sure.
I keep wanting to say 303. Number 2 is, I added the red part that says, chief still has the ability to employ everybody except the healthcare administrator who will be hired by the board/fire chief committee. And under B of that, number 4, as stated above. And then C was the date of submittal of budget for service shall be changed to May 1st in this paragraph, which was a suggestion by chief.
what was it?
It was
April?
April or March, and that's just awful quick.
Yeah,
Some districts and some budget processes, they'll wait until June to get really accurate numbers, and then they'll rush, turn everything in. And I was initially told in January I had to start, and that's when I realized, wow, there's an awful lot of crystal balling when you start in January, and it's just better to
Is this?
give more accurate
I just
information
cut
to
it
the
out.
bosses, and it can wait just a little while longer.
Well, yeah, and that gives you your 2
Have
months
a
to
hiring, like what
work
word?
with you, so that seems
We
reasonable.
want it to be verbal.
oh, yeah, we could put medic in there. Christine suggested, in my little red, who will hire by the medic board fire chief committee. So, I guess what we're looking for. What?
I'm just to employ except for, so. Are you saying that we're gonna have one employee?
That's
No.
what she said.
No, we're doing the hiring. They still go through, I mean, we pay for them regardless of where it goes.
But it says, and, but let's see,
You're also gonna be doing the evaluation about that person too.
hereby delegates to.
No,
Except,
Why not?
except, yeah, it says except for the healthcare administrator. It says that EFR is gonna employ everybody except, so we're gonna, if that's not your intent, this has to be changed.
the chief and the fire board will have to be reviews.
All right, how do you think it needs to be worded then?
Because it still is your staff, chief. And you're still working for two boards. And we can't make it one board yet.
I think you have to say with the consultation on hiring of a, it has to, right now this reads that we're gonna employ the administrator as the health district.
Okay.
Somehow, we just need, or we're asking. to
With
be
the
involved-
assistance,
Involved in the hiring, if we're asking for that position specifically, and to be involved in the hiring of that position for our benefit. So, however we word it to state that. Don't you agree, Chief, that it reads like we're gonna employ somebody?
And if we amend the IGA to say that we're gonna handle the hiring, but all other action will be taken by the fire board.
say that again.
Unless you have a law that I don't know.
I think somehow we need to specifically state that we expect that there's going to be a healthcare administrator position and that we want representation in the hiring. Does that seem fair, Matt?
Absolutely.
So we just have to get ourselves out of, because it'd be a whole expensive ball of wax for us to have one employee.
Right,
Then we're looking at another safe policy and, more administration costs. It's just, we don't want to go there. That's going backwards in my opinion.
so. And to employ the necessary personnel, including
Okay,
the healthcare administrator, who will be hired by a committee of medic board and fire,
I like it. I think that accomplishes.
Mhm.
who will be hired by a committee of medic board / chief. Okay. Okay, does that sound doable? And to employ the necessary personnel, including the healthcare administrator, who will be hired by the committee, a committee of medic board and chief.
You spreading costs?
No, we'll still
No,
pay our
medical
employee.
still pay.
Basically, all this addendum is asking for a specific position and a voice in the hiring process.
Correct. Okay. So with that addendum, do I have a motion to pass that information on to the fire?
So moved.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Budget, that's to you.
If you took a look at the email that I sent out, that's got the information on the IGA, we're getting close, it's pushing up. We're reducing our amount of carryover reserves that holds us over on the 4 dark months, July, August, September, October, and the way it is right now with the funds that we have in the 3 different funds, the equipment fund and the ambulance fund and the building fund. We're projecting that there's going to be about $100,000 on November 1st. Now, we're supposed to get cash from the taxes in the month of November. So one could sit back and say, well, then we still have 100K we could sit on, but
It's going fast.
it just makes me, it makes me nervous.
Any questions on the budget, guys? Okay. Internal facility transfers. I asked for this one because he had sent an email.
So these are the rates that the city of Pendleton is charging right now. There's a bunch of them. This is the IGA that we have, or the 190 with Pendleton for medic evaluation, because they run so many more calls there than here. If you decide to do this, an addendum can be added to the back of that, we can just say, we can call this an IGA with Pendleton, and then it can be there. If you start thinking about the overtime rates for the 2 workers coming off of some of those numbers that you see there listed, the remainder would be for fuel and for tires or wear and tear or ambulance supplies, that kind of thing. So it's up to you, but this is a way that revenue for the district could be brought up. This is a way that also a patient who has to say definitive care from going to a different hospital, seeing a different doctor, they could have that opportunity to them. This is a way that there is another crew that's left in the region. But I have to say, the first thing that I see is there is a significant way that we can increase district revenue.
Well, and the other thing I like about this is it gives our off-duty personnel a chance to make some extra cash.
If they so choose,
Yeah,
and
they-
I would presume that they do.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Okay, dumb question. Let's pick the third one here, non-emergency base, 1560. That is what we would charge the patient? And what happens if they're Medicare and all we get is $250?
Sometimes that happens, but we're told ahead of time. Let me rephrase. When I was at Pendleton, we were told ahead of time if somebody has X insurance or if they were a Medicare, Medicaid, so that's the $420, no matter what. You're told that ahead of time. And sometimes, yes, you can get stung with some of those. This is the joy. This is the advantage of this. If we have an agreement with Pendleton Fire Ambulance, for instance, let's say that we use our second hour ambulance and a driver, we can't get a advanced cardiac life support person. We can't get one of our paramedics or one of our A's to go. So we grab one of theirs. We build along these lines, and you send Pendleton, which will be agreed upon, a rate for having their person on the transfer, but the rest of it would stay with us. And these are their rates. And my suggestion is, if you guys decide that you want to do this, I would just let them go right through with the billing and call it the city of Pendleton. That way there's absolutely no change. It's all seamless. And then we could.
You're saying Pendleton would bill and then just pay us, is that what you're saying?
No, or we can arrange it that way. It just depends on if you guys want to do this, how you want it set up, we can do that way. I would advocate against that because
I guess I was just trying to understand what you're, can you
There could be-
explain what you're saying?
there could be times when both of the persons on the transfer comes from our jurisdiction
Right,
and the ambulance. So
We get all the money.
Well, after we've had overtime and then what's residual stays in our coffers.
Have you run this past our crew? Are they like in favor of pulling extra shift?
Most of them aren't here, so you could ask them, but this isn't pulling an extra shift. If there's a transfer, for instance, that takes place from St. Anthony's to Cadillac, it's about 4 hours.
No, I understand, but we can't use our number one, our first out crew.
I advocate strongly against using that because that's what these taxpayers are paying for.
Exactly.
This has, in my opinion, this has got to be the second out ambulance and off-duty personnel, or it's just a bad deal.
That's what I was wondering.
So I'd like to ask you, are you guys in favor of coming in for some extra time?
It was our understanding, when Michael still worked here, that these were already in place, we just weren't getting calls.
We have one with
Walla Walla.
not penalty.
So at this
Yeah.
point,
So,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we don't want to prove something if our people don't want to do it, so,
Well, there's something that says that we have to take the transfer. If they call us and say, look, there's one up, there's something that says that we have to do that. If we can't staff it, then we can't staff it. And then at Pendleton Fire Ambulance, they would have to go their own route. But we know for a fact that St. Anthony's has called as far away as Boardman to take an in-town transfer. We know that. So if there's a way that we can keep the money in this region, this would do that.
So is this something you need a motion on tonight?
In order to sign the agreement.
well, we don't technically have any employees.
We don't have
Well,
any,
that's true.
we can't do anything.
So I guess it would just be amending our billing policy, is that
Well,
right?
Actually, the medic district is the title holder for the ambulance that would be used. So it just makes more sense that the medic bosses decide yay or nay. And then if it's a yay, then we go forward and we make an addendum to the IGA and then make sure that all of us and our attorney takes a look at it, and then they'll take a look at it and they'll send it to their attorney, and it's a process, it takes a while.
Okay, then
We just approve it for Dave to go ahead and enter agreement with it, which is good.
I would move that we approve the transfers with the City of Pendleton ambulance,
Second,
or whatever organization.
We have
Okay.
about 3 per day.
all in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Okay, 4-0.
That doesn't mean that Andy and Terry have to take they can do one back to back. It doesn't mean, if they have that option, if they want to do that, then they can. But this is actually a really good thing.
Okay, bill forgiveness. That was another email you had sent.
So the email I sent out was, I had gotten something from TVG about a person who lived with his wife in a house that they were their income was just Social Security, it was less than whatever number it was. They made Tatchell aware that they were below the poverty line for the United States, the federal poverty line. So they asked if we would authorize them to reduce the bill. And I immediately said back, yes, we authorize that. Now, I wasn't trying to usurp anybody's authority or undermine anything, but my
That's
first
the
thought
law,
was
that's
keep
the
us
law.
out of trouble,
Yeah.
was my
Yeah.
first thought. But when that comes up, I can reach out and try to find somebody, or I can make a phone call or something. I don't think it's gonna come up very often, but when it does, I think that's,
I think if it's the
Makes us
law,
look
it's
good.
the law. It doesn't need to go necessarily
Mhm.
through us.
Agreed.
So
agreed.
how about I have a motion to allow him to tell them yes from now on, if it's the law, let it go. I think it was what, 75% that they got
Something like
wiped
that.
away?
Do we need a motion to follow the law?
No,
Okay. I think we should just do what we're supposed to do.
All right, let's do what you're supposed to do, Dave. All right, monthly equipment status, safety status.
oh man, I've got
Isn't
a
that you?
file full of reports for safety and for grants and for equipment. It's in the office. I'd bring it with me. I'm sorry. Oh, crap.
Yeah, tell me.
Is that okay?
Yep, because we gotta get moving.
There was a couple little things on the guns, I know that just some minor things that got fixed. couple of $100 parts, like a warmer.
Okay.
Right, Andy? Those things got fixed, everything on them's looking really good. We haven't had any 801s, we haven't had any reported injuries.
What's an 801?
The workman's comp claims,
Okay,
there's been none that I've been made aware of, at least as the safety chair, so.
Okay.
Everything seems to be running smooth and all of our people seem to be healthy-ish.
now that the sickness is
As healthy as we choose to be.
put on. All right, did anybody have any questions about the chief's report? Okay. Business from the board?
Jason kind of gave us that overview.
I'm just not sure what was talked about, but that's all of them. That's safety, that's grants, that's equipment, that's any report on the medic stuff. It's all there.
Are we currently applying for any grants?
Oh, yeah. We're trying hard. But the federal trough, so to speak, has dried up a little bit, so it is what it is. We're trying. And Dakota Reeser he took a course from OSU on grant writing, and I'm glad that he saw that. I'm glad that he had the understanding that he did it. I don't know if it makes
That's
it more
cool.
effective or not, but I think that it does.
Nice.
All right, business from the board? Chris?
No.
Okay. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Matt? 7:45-ish.
45.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.